I did want to bring up a couple of the other WWE releases that kind of
Okay.
surprised me just to talk about them. The one that I think bummed me out the most was Frankie Monet. Like I was
Right.
really upset that she got released, and she was pretty upset
100%.
that she got released based on her statement on social media. Um,
Dude.
it just seems like they're missing something big with her because I think she's great. Like as a character, she's great. As a wrestler, she's great. She has such a big personality. She's different to anyone else that they have on the roster. Like I was really looking forward to her being in like a title feud and
Yep.
doing big things
Um,
because I feel like the main roster could use someone like Frankie Monet because they definitely don't have anyone like her.
no, totally. That one for me, like I kind of took it like a bit personally. And you know the cutest thing is she actually retweeted me
Mm-hmm.
about it. I don't know if you saw
I
that.
didn't see it.
So she retweeted me about it. Because obviously she brought age into it.
Uh-huh.
Which I think is a really, really freaking brave thing to do.
I think so too.
Um, it's wild because nobody really highlights it. And I know obviously now that she has brought this up, it's brought up some things that I've seen on like the Inside the Ropes, like news, where apparently the new thing is like, okay, so for women it's 25 and under. Like
Mm-hmm.
that we'll do. Do you know it's stuff like that where I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And it's stuff like that that's really making me question about what I want to watch because I felt so passionately about when I saw her tweet about this.
Uh-huh.
And it was like somebody had like she quote tweeted, sorry, somebody who was like, oh well, maybe if they had like if you were younger, like they'd brought age into it,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, mate, I'm 38. And she was like, I'm not old. And she was like, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this all going. Looking at her, she looks amazing. Doesn't matter about your physical appearance anyway. But it was just it like the way I've been feeling recently and what she said, it actually just hit me in the guts. I was devastated when I read it.
Uh-huh.
And especially I can't imagine how John Morrison must be feeling like when he's like still obviously employed by this company and still and sees how they've treated his wife or how she feels like her feelings towards it and how she's been like she feels that she's been mismanaged or
Yeah, because what she said in her
why
tweets,
this has come about.
I just pulled them up from your Twitter actually. Like she was responding to some people saying, STFU, I just turned 38. I've been ashamed to even speak about my age until today. 38 is not that old, especially when you're a man. Process that, right? Because Bobby Lashley's 45. Sheamus is, I think, like 40. I mean, Cena obviously isn't really around anymore, but he's in his 40s. They keep
But
bringing
like
back
look at
Goldberg, who's in his
Goldberg,
50s.
exactly.
Like, I mean, talking about like it's so much of the men's roster is quite old, right? Like not ancient, but like
Well,
in their
this is the
40s, and they're still great. Like they can still go. Like Rey Mysterio's still there. He's what, like 47, something like that. I can't
thing.
remember. But there are so many guys that are like older on the roster, and then when people like Mickey James or Taya Valkyrie get fired, and people are like, well, you are getting on up there or whatever. It's like
Mhm.
she's 38 years old, and like I really
Exactly.
like the tweet that she put out when she said age should never be an issue, and I'm sick of people using that as a reason someone should lose their job. I'm a woman, a wife, a mother to two dogs, an aunt, and a friend. No one should ever say that 38 is old. Grow up. And like I'm turning 37 in a couple months. I don't feel old. I don't feel ancient. I don't feel past my prime of being able to do things. I obviously don't work in a physical industry. I work talking about a physical industry instead. But it's hard when you there are always lists of like, oh, 30 successful people under 30 or whatever. Like when I was 30, I was barely hanging on to life in some ways. Like I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. And I think it's important to have conversations with people and be like, hey, no, like you can do things as an older person, or even like, I mean, like I don't even think that we're old. Like I don't
That's the
consider us
thing.
old at
No.
all.
Exactly. And this is the thing is like I've been having this like absolute like I don't know about you, Sandra, but I
Mm-hmm.
have the worst imposter
Oh,
syndrome.
terrible.
Like ever. Like, I'm
Terrible.
constantly just like, I shouldn't be doing this. And then you get the odd person online who's like, you shouldn't be doing this. And you're like, yeah, I know.
So
Like,
despite
you
all of
find
the people
you
telling you that you should
oh,
be
that's
able
it.
to,
Oh,
it's like
that's
the
it.
one
I could
person
have
sounds so loud.
99. That's the thing, is like I've got 99 problems, and if my problems were all people being really nice to me, it's that
Uh-huh.
one like bitch.
Yeah.
You're just like, damn it. But like it's really hard, and I think as well, like I've not made any secret, like I've not been doing very well with my mental health recently, but to see that, and that is something that I've been personally feeling about, um especially within roles of like ICW. I think obviously getting back to live shows and being around such young, hungry talent, and like, I mean, this is like all the wrestlers and stuff. It's shocked me and it scared me, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine if I was a wrestler. Like,
Mm-hmm.
do you know what I mean? I'm not even doing the things they're doing, but I'm so aware that, oh my God, like, I shouldn't be around this anymore. Like, because this is all like new people coming in and stuff. But so if I was actually in a ring with somebody who is clearly going to be physically fitter than
Uh-huh.
you are at a certain age, I can't imagine how that feels, how much more you need to put it on, how much more effort you need to give it, and this, that, and the other thing, and then to get released because of, which, let's face it, she was doing as much as she could
She
given
was
the writing
killing
she was
it.
given. Given
Everything
the
she was given,
writing
she
she was
was
given,
great.
though.
It's just like she doesn't fit their new direction or whatever. And it's,
Yeah.
I don't know, it makes me question a lot of things about WWE's hiring policies, especially in regards to women, because when you look at the Queen's Crown tournament that we just had, right? Like, Zelina Vega won the Queen's Crown tournament. I love Zelina Vega. This is nothing against Zelina Vega. Thea Trinidad, wonderful. Like, she's a great performer.
Mm.
She's not the best wrestler, and she's not like, they didn't push her at all before she won this Queen's Crown tournament, so she had 0 wins. It makes nothing matter, basically, right? Like, it
Yeah.
just kind of feels like, oh well, now we'll just do this, nobody will remember, and she's just like another lady on the roster, because you kind of have your tiers of like your
Yeah.
Charlotte, your Bailey, your Becky, your Rhea, your
Oh yeah.
Bianca, and then
But
like
it's the
there's a
same as
big
like, I,
gap,
I think
right?
I think you always kind of get that as well, though. To be fair, I think you're right in saying that it's a bigger gap, because obviously we've always had your main eventers, your mid card, your jobbers kind of thing. Like, you've always had that. But with the women, it almost seems to be, it's like, your main eventers and the
And
rest. Like,
then the
that's
lower
it.
card, and you don't really
It's
have as
just
much of like, I mean,
mm,
Dana Brooke, I would say, is like their one like jobber lady that they kind of have on the roster right now,
yeah.
like on the main roster.